topic is matrices. Matrices! In C++. You have probably heard your teacher say something like this. Hi class, today we are going to see programming in C++. First, your hello world. But you actually thought something like this. Oh, how boring is the class. What if I become a TikToker? Well, let me tell you that you are wrong. Programming is not boring. You just need to look for the interesting aspect. So, let's get started. Well, C++ is a programming language based on C. That's why it is named C++. Created for writing programs for many different purposes. And currently, it is one of the most used programming languages in the world. Developed by the harness Snoop Dogg. Sorry, it's difficult to pronounce. It's Bajarni Stroop. First, it was C with classes, but now it's C++. Oh, that sounds better. Also, they add features of oriented programming languages. Long live to object-oriented programming. C++ is considered an intermediate level language, and it includes high and low features. We can see programs like Java that are originally developed to control toasters, C for programming operation systems, Pascal to teach good programming techniques, but C++ is a general purpose language, so you can do a lot of different things. That's why it is named the Swiss pocket knife of languages. Since it is used for programming games, GUI-based applications, database software, browsers, banking applications, and lots of different things. But how to work with it? For this, you only need a computer. Sorry, this isn't a computer. A computer, a text editor to write the code, and a compiler to read the code. Wow! Let's talk about variables, that thing they use as identifier to hold values or reference objects. Each variable has a specific type that determines the size and layout of variable's memory, and the set of operations can be applied to it. The name of the variables can be composed of letters, digits, and underscore characters. Even I sometimes use my name of my crush that doesn't love me to name the variables. Why don't you love me, Maria? Well, there are some types of variables in C++, as bool for true or false values, char for non-numerical data, and int for only integers, and also float for numeric values with decimals, double for data with more decimals. But there are also other types like enumeration, array, reference, and classes. So if you're a master like me, you will be able to use it. Oh, sorry, I was forgetting to talk about string types. Holy moly! A string variable contains a collection of characters surrounded by double quotes that can also be considered as an array of characters. And we have the operators to perform operations. That sounds great. With it, we can perform mathematical or logical operations. There are different types of operators, like the basic arithmetic operators, like these ones, the assigning operators, the auto increment and decrement operators, the +1 and the -1, the logical operators, the relational operators. Also, there exist others like the relation operations, as I said, and the bitwise operations, but I don't want you to get confused. Also, with C++, we can use if statements to make the program take decisions and execute a specific part of the code. If the control statement is true, the code associates with the statement and runs that part. Moreover, we can implement if-else clauses to create more statements. We can use the switch statement when there's a lot of if statements to create different code block options. After, we have the while loops that enable us to execute a block of code while a given condition is true. So we need to create a sentinel value to break that code. There is also the do while that tests a condition and stops until it happens. Also, we can find the for loop that initiates values as counters and runs until it evaluates to false. It's important to mention that you can also use loops inside loops to create recursive blocks for our needs. And well, this is named as nesting. Well, in order to print a message in C++, you can do it with printf or cout to control the exit of data. Reading data by keyboard in C++ is done using the command syn. It is important to note the use of these two signs that are used to control the flow of data, or you can use also scanf in this case. However, the scanf operator and the printf were designed for C language, not for C++, making their use more primitive and difficult to apply in certain cases. If you want to insert a new line or order a part of the printed message, you can use the escape sequences, like the new line, the horizontal tab, the vertical tab, the single quotation mark, the double quotation mark, and the question mark. In order to write a comment, also you must write or put these signs. Okay. A matrix is a set of numbers arranged in columns and rows to form an array. The numbers are named entries. The dimensions tell its size first rows and then columns. Matrices are commonly written in box brackets that help us to describe the set of data and how to manipulate them. Also, we can represent linear transformations like the rotation of vectors or solve system of equations. In C++, a matrix is a two-dimensional array. When there is a matrix, so that when you multiply any matrix by it, you get the same original matrix that is known as identity matrix. Also, we have the symmetrical matrices that are symmetrical in the diagonal. So if there are zeros in the entries below, the diagonal is an upper triangle matrix. And if the matrix has zeros in the entries above, the diagonal is a lower triangular matrix. Okay, well, matrices with the same number of rows and columns can be added and subtracted. But to perform a multiplication, the number of columns in the first matrix need to be equal to the number of rows of the second one, as you can see here. Also, well, when using arrays in C++, they must have a name. Define the type also. Define also the type of information to store and its size. We can also have dynamic matrices that are declared when the code runs and static ones that are declared before executing the code. Let's start. In the first line, we can see the standard library. Then we can see the inMain function that serves as a starting point for our code. Then we have different declared variables of type integer and float, arrays of 4x4. We first see several printf to explain the function of the code, among other things. Oh, remember to put this symbol when you use scanf, since it needs the address of the operator. Then printf and scanf are used to ask for the numbers of rows and columns. To know if the multiplication can be done, we use an if statement to be able to compare the columns and rows of both matrices. If the condition is met, the data of each matrix is requested. For this, a for loop is used with the variables I, j, row 1, and column 1 of the first matrix. That asks us for the data of the first matrix and indicates the location of the pointer of it. We can see also that there is a d percentage that is used to indicate that the data is of a type of integers, and f percentage to indicate that the data is of type that can use decimals. Then, well, the same is done with the second matrix. Then with the 3 for statements, we do the operation on storing the right variable c. Then we print them doing the same as before with the fors. You can see that it puts a percentage stem f, which means that it is printed as a floating point with a precision of 30 characters after the decimal point. We have also a /n to leave space between lines when printing, so the results look like a matrix. Well, the same happens with the other, and between these, this symbol is
used to represent the multiplication and put the operations. Then the matrix C and the data with their respective locations are printed. And finally, there is an else statement to indicate that in case of the matrix cannot be multiplied, show a message of error. So let's run it. Okay, yes, for the variables. Oh, it really works.